What's up, guys? Welcome back to Quick Mixes with Intrisio. It's Binlo here, and today I've actually got Big B in the back with me. What's up, Big B?
Yo, what's going on, yo?
All right, guys, we're hopping back into one of our old songs, You Can't Hold My Hand, from last year. We're trying to show y'all just more about that method to how we get that quick Intrisio sound and how we make the magic. Big B, you ready to kind of go in and dive into this song?
Let's do it.
All right, here's a sneak peek, guys.
I can tell by the way
No effects,
that she
obviously.
looking at me. She want a nigga to eat the cake, you know I gotta have it. Flip a different ways
Big
like
B.
you can hold my drink, but you can't hold my
There's me
hand.
on the chorus. All right, real quick, guys. So we're just going to run through this. Before anything, I just want to mention to y'all that biggest things when it comes to mixing is obviously and always going to be equalizing, compression, and then you're going to need a DS, reverb, delays to add that spatial sound, to add that magic. But your biggest components are always going to be EQs and compressors. And so a lot of that is what I start with. Beforehand, obviously, for the music we make, and I know I say obviously a lot, but for the music we make, this is what we're using. And so auto-tune is number one. It's key for the music that we're working with, especially with Big B and this
Very
plug sound that
key.
we're trying to achieve,
Very key.
which is kind of the sound that we're doing in this, which is a kind of a little plug, a little bit auto-tune, heavy hip-hop, trap. And so we have auto-tune here all the way on max, obviously, Humanize here. We actually have it pitched up with the Foreman up. And then here on the lead vocal, I've got an EQ cutting out always have a low pass here to cut out the lows. And then I'm cutting out some of the mud here, cutting out some of the mids, and cut out some of the highs. And so what this does is certain frequencies in our microphones that we don't like, certain things that sound bad, I try to carve out and cut out before we start adding effects on. Because once we add effects on, it's going to increase what is already bad.
Facts.
And so you want to take out the bad first. And so we've got that EQ. And so this is what it sounds like with the EQ and auto-tune on.
Way that she looking at me. She want a nigga to eat the cake,
Already a lot
you know I
better.
gotta have it. Flip a different
Fits in with the
ways
beat a little bit, but
like
definitely needs more. And so then what I hop into is we go into de-essing right here. And so the de-essing, as it says in the name, takes out the S sounds, takes out some of those harsh sibilances that we don't like. And so I turn that on. I've got that set at a certain tones between 6,000 hertz and 11,000 hertz, which is the same frequency range you see on an EQ. It kind of just does a different type of, it's a multi-band compressor in a way. And so that's going to pull some of those S sounds down. After that, I'm going to have these two compressors, RVOX, which is one of the things that we use most common all the time on a lot of our vocals. It's a super, super simple compressor, but it really tames the sibilances, tames the transients, and controls the vocal really well before I throw it into an optical compressor, which is going to be the UAD LA2A, which, man, oh man, I don't think it's going to load there, but UAD LA2A, and so I'm usually taking about 2 to 3 decibels out of it. And then I don't even have that turned on. So let's see all of those effects.
Way that she looking at me. She want a nigga to eat the cake, you know I gotta have it. Flip a different ways like it's gymnastics. You know I'm saying, different plays trying to make it happen. If a nigga get our way.
And so then now here on our main vocal bus, a lot of that was surgical and cleanup. And so now here's where I do some more of the additive and making it sound a little more pleasant with the beat. So we add another de-esser, taking out at the 4,000 hertz. And then what we're doing here is we're adding some air. And so we're adding some of those higher frequencies to give it some breath and to make it float a little bit more. Then I have a UAD Pultec. And so this one's doing about I'm doing about 2 increase on 3,000 hertz. On 1.5, I'm doing about a 3 decibel dip. And then on 1,000, I'm doing a 1 decibel. And so it would be hard to explain, but almost like this graph, but if you moved it down this way, it's kind of doing like this motion.
Right.
And so that's what this equalizer's doing. And so that adds a lot of good analog sound. Here's the Pro multi-band compressor. And so here on the higher frequencies, I'm actually adding some of it, but then I'm compressing it at the same time to bring it down. So that way it kind of gives it some breath and some resonance and some tone, but it's still controlling it because it can also bring up a lot of bad frequencies at the same time. And then here I'm controlling some of that mud and some of that oomph that I don't like. And then we have one more equalizer, the SSL channel, an analog equalizer. And so I'm doing just a dip here at, it looks like 800 hertz. I guess I still had some harsh resonances that I didn't enjoy. And then we have a decapitator, which is just some it's a good form of saturation. And so I've got that. I'm actually going to turn that mix down a little bit, turn the drive up here. And so this is what it sounds like with all of that.
Way that she looking at me, she want a nigga eat the cake, you know I gotta have it. Flip a different way.
And so now I'm going to turn on all of the ad-lib tracks, and for a lot of the same things, we have the same effects. The biggest difference is that I equalize them all in different ways, and so to make sure that they fit in and they're not all clashing with each other, I have them carved out in different ways. And so this is some of the ad-libs. This is the doubles, and so they're doing just different things. And then other than that, they're compressed in different ways. I think I was doing a lot back then, and so I have a lot of compressors I probably shouldn't have. I've got extra reverbs I probably shouldn't have. I was going all over the place. But this is what it sounds like with all the layers now, and with the same process I followed on the lead vocal.
Way that she looking at me, she want a nigga eat the cake, you know I gotta have it. Flip a different ways like it's gymnastics. You know I'm saying, different plays trying to make it happen.
And now we add the magic, which is going to be our reverbs. So I've got 3 reverbs right here, a room reverb, a large hall reverb. I've also got another Valhalla Vintage reverb, which was never named. Chamber reverb, I believe this is for the ad-libs. And then we've got our delays, we've got doubles. I use a micro shift for a doubler effect, and then I've got Echo Boy for my delay. Echo Boy here for an 1/8 dotted delay for the main vocal, and a quarter delay for a longer delay. And so that's an 1/8 note and a quarter note for people who make music, and the delay just rolls into that tone based on the BPM of the beat, which is 138. And so here's what all of that sounds like together.
Way that she looking at me, she want a nigga eat the cake, you know I gotta have it. Flip a different ways like it's gymnastics. You know I'm saying, different plays trying to make it happen.
Oh yeah.
If a big man, you can hold my hand. We can fly all night, but we can never land.
Take off these
Open
delays.
up the legs, baby, stay like
Kind of just makes it sound flat. You don't realize what it's doing until it's there. The real, yeah, that girl.
Stuck in the train, sipping on
But
all
it
the
makes it just
flavors.
float, fit in the vocal, and fit in the entire beat. Just the entire sound is just a lot better. And then on the all vocals bus, I have a Soothe 2 to control all of these and kind of glue them together. And then that is pretty much everything we've got. So this was us breaking down our song, You Can't Hold My Hand, from last year. Here's the finished product.
She wanna hold my hand, she wanna be my twin. Turning up all night, hope this night never ends. She wanna hold my hand, she wanna be my twin. Turning up all night, hope this night never ends. Big brother, you can't hold my hand. We can fly all night, but we can't ever land. Open up the legs, baby, stay like a fan. Now I get to running, I ain't got time to dance. Stuck in a train, sipping on all the flavors.
This has been Quick Mixes with Intrisio. Y'all follow for more and let us know what you enjoyed and what you didn't, and what we need to explain more. Thank you and stay tuned.
Peace.